Here I am at the devil wards, hemorrhaging, being rushed to the hospital. Picture of what you call Black excellence. I'm now happily married, 30 years old for 4 years now. Went to the GYN and the doctor is like, you have the word that changed my life, fibroids. That precipitated my $1 million baby journey. 14 years battling fibroids, 10 years of infertility. There's 15 surgeries altogether, 5 IVF cycles. What I didn't know was that every time I was pumping my body with the hormones, it was causing the fibroids to grow again. Finally, after the 5th IVF cycle, I conceived. And at 21 weeks, the doctor says, Mrs. Thompson, the baby isn't growing the way it should. This is 10 years in. And he said, you might want to consider terminating the pregnancy. And I said, why? He says, because your womb is going to become a hostile environment. I said, sir, I believe in miracles and I'm not giving up on this baby. At 30 weeks, the doctor says to me, I just want to apologize. We weren't trying to scare you. We have never seen this before. This baby was not supposed to make it. And I said to him, I said, it's okay. I didn't expect you to know my God.
Come on.
I didn't expect you to know what he was doing. And my baby was born and she's amazing. I always say that when I birthed her, she birthed me. So she says she's the co-founder of my company. I went from being an activist to a founder. I started my own holistic health company called Detox Now and really started focusing on what's driving these things.
Yeah, I want to take a moment to say this because fibroids actually helped me know that this is my husband.
Please.
So a quick, really personal,
Yes.
intimate story.
What started as a search for understanding became a journey of transformation. Every letter that I wrote led me to this day, the day I got married.
November the 22nd, 2025. Dear my forever.
Forever is a long time. That's how long I'll love you. Those lyrics echo through every fiber of my soul at the very thought of you.
This journey has culminated with you as both the award and the reward of my pursuit of love. You are the award, the honor God placed before me, the recognition of growth, healing, and becoming the man I needed to be.
And you are the reward, the blessing given after endurance, the gift promised to those who refuse to faint.
This isn't just our story. This is for all of us. I'm Laterras R. Whitfield.
And I'm Ashley R. Whitfield.
Welcome to the Dear Future Wifey podcast.
Welcome to the Dear Future Wifey podcast. I'm your host, Laterras R. Whitfield.
And I'm Ashley R. Whitfield.
Are you still shacking up with us? If you're still shacking up with us, come on. Come on. This is season 11. Can you please stop shacking up with us and make a commitment? See, I think a lot of you have commitment issues. You're believing God for your purpose partner, but you can't even commit to a free YouTube channel that's giving you value, giving you knowledge, giving you education. So what are you waiting on? Hit that subscription button and subscribe. Make sure you pick up the book, Student of Love. A lot of people have been DMing me talking about the impact of the book, and you don't want to be the one that's believing for God to bring that person in your life and you're just not ready. Remember, love isn't about finding the right person. It's about becoming the right person. Today's guest, man, we are in the studio. It's almost 9 o'clock p.m. because it was so vital to have this episode. Ashley really wanted to speak to today's guest. Shout out to my homie Candace, who referred this queen to be on the podcast. She was in town, so she said, Laterras, you definitely want to interview this amazing woman on your podcast. And so without further ado, welcome to the Dear Future Wifey podcast, our new homies, Coach Gessie. How you doing, Queen?
I am incredibly blessed and graced.
You grace?
Yes.
What are you grace for?
Because I've learned to really rest in God and not try to make my way and know that, you know, his Jeremiah 29:11, the plans that he has for you is really the only way to his Ephesians 3:20, which is his exceedingly abundantly above all you can ask, think, or imagine.
Amen.
So I stopped trying to, make my own ways and use his ways.
So you're gonna just start off preaching? That's what you're gonna do? You're gonna start off Dear Future Wifey just dropping scriptures on? That's what you're gonna do?
That's how we gonna do.
Well, what's your relationship status?
I am married for 28 years.
28 years.
Yeah.
I wish I could have had your husband on the podcast.
He is amazing.
Will he do podcasts? Will he do interviews?
He sure will. He's quite a superstar.
Why do you say that?
He's an incredible human being. He's the kind of person that you can't help but be better around him. You can't help but grow better. He is the kind of person that helps you manifest who God made you to be. He draws people to their to growing. Like you can't not grow around him.
What does he do for a living?
He is a owner of a Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
Which is hilarious. You want to talk about, it's hilarious that given the work that I do, that God has my husband with a Chick-fil-A. It is, you want to talk about hilarious because here I am teaching people how to live their best detox life, how to live free from toxic people, thoughts, habits, and foods by making better decisions and taking control of their health. And he became a Chick-fil-A owner and operator. I was like, God, you got jokes. And can I tell you something I've never told anybody before?
What?
When he was, he's going to laugh when, yes, baby, I love you. He was going through the interview process and he's like, babe, if they tell you have to eat chicken, you're going to have chicken. I said, baby, I'm vegan because of health reasons, which will go into my health issues, right? And I was like, but babe, you don't know what's going to happen to me if I have chicken. And then it's processed food, babe, right? He was like, babe, you going to eat that chicken. but look at God. God was like, they said, oh, she's vegan for health reasons. They didn't even ask me, you know what I mean?
Well, they're going to try to ask you what? They're going to audition you by eating some chicken?
I was like, come on, babe, it's going to be all right. I was like, God didn't get us here, you know?
She said, I'm vegan for health reasons, but you'll eat this chicken.
So how did you meet your husband? You said, so 28 years.
28 years.
Married.
Married.
How long were you dating?
We dated for 4 years.
Okay.
Like we were friends first. Let me just be clear. We weren't dating at that time. We were just friends.
Okay.
A friend of ours who we say a broken clock is right twice. He said that was my husband and he said that was his wife. And we were like, we met and it was like, okay. What?
Okay. Yeah.
He told that to who?
Nice.
He told that to
us.
you.
He told me and he told him. And we were like, I'm not really interested. And then we met. He invited me to come hear my husband speak at an event that he was having at his old church. This is our mutual friend. And because he was like, he just knew when I heard him preach, I was going to be like hit with the Holy Ghost and be like, that's the one. And I was like, he could teach, but, okay, but we became friends.
And how long were y'all platonic friends before something romantic started brewing?
So we met in 94. We got engaged in 96. And we got married in 98.
So what changed in those 2 years?
We were actually going to the same church and we didn't know it because we were going to different services.
Oh, okay.
Right?
What city did y'all?
New York. Hey, New York.
There it is.
So we started, again, this friendship because he was at the time, it's funny, he was representing somebody in Chris. He was a talent manager, which he never should have been. That's not his job. He could never be. But he was representing someone because it's just, he doesn't have the gift. I went to school for music business, so I know.
No way.
Yeah, I know. God totally turned things around. Wait till you hear how he really turned it around. But anyway, so we started becoming friends because I needed to connect the person he was working with for somebody who needed an event. But then I started learning that he was reading the people I was reading, like Miles Monroe. Like, first of all, that was like, oh, you for real
Yeah,
Christian.
it's Miles, boy.
Like you ain't like I'm just going to church Christian. You reading Miles Monroe, you're listening to his tapes and teaching. Okay.
By the way, he's from Nassau.
Nassau, Bahamas.
Yeah. That's my happy place. So I said I'm taking her to Nassau.
Where God lives.
Yeah,
that's
where God lives. They say 242 to the world.
Yes, that's where God lives. So then what happened is I was in church one day and the service was around, the teaching was around who are the people that you trust, right? And I remember at that time, the only man that I could say that I trusted that was single was him.
Oh, wow.
And guess what? The Lord said, You know what I mean? It was like, he's the only single man
It is so interesting.
that I can trust. And that's when things said, well, he's a good man.
He's a good man, Savannah.
He's a good, you know what I mean? No.
Yeah, I do. I do know what you mean. I know.
Go ahead, Cheryl, so she may need to be updated. Go tell her.
No, I'm
We were friends. We
Yeah.
were friends, but I trusted him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our
for
story.
a year and like 4 months.
See?
And then that's when things started shifting. And actually at the time that this episode will probably drop, it might be on the anniversary of
I
it.
know.
'Cause it was on
Yeah.
the March the 18th was when we went on our first date.
Wow.
You know, and that's after being friends for a year and 4 months.
Episode might
Drop
It
on
might
March
be.
the 18th.
Okay, anniversary
It may
episode.
drop on March the 18th. And so that's what happened. And we were just platonic friends. And then around February, end of February, I was like, I got to see if there's more to this.
Yeah.
You know, I want to take you on a date and schedule a date to go fly out to LA and take her out on March the 18th.
And see, the thing is, you had that foundation.
Yep.
Exactly.
That, you know what, I wasn't trying to. The other thing is, he was dating somebody. So I
Yep.
felt like he wasn't trying to get with
Yeah.
me. I was
Yep.
like, oh, this is real friendship.
Yep.
You know?
Exactly.
And that's really what laid the groundwork.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then God just, was like,
Yeah.
hey, he's the one.
So was it like a moment, or what was that? Like, how did God speak to you?
It was definitely not. It was a journey.
It was a journey.
And I think that everybody's different. Like he told me, I was walking out of the car and the Lord was like, that's the one. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know that. He didn't tell me in the moment. Thank God, because I would have been like, side eye.
Okay.
You know?
Why would you look at him side eye for that?
Well, because, there's a lot of people who do that, and he's not the kind of person who just says, God told me.
Yep.
Right? Because he feels like a lot of people manipulate people that way.
Yeah.
Right? And he's going to say, you know what? Out of my wisdom and everything that I have to make a good decision, this is what I'm recommending. And this is what I see. Now, if the Lord says something, I'll say it. So, if he says that, it is very rare.
Yeah.
Very. Because people be handing it out like it's,
So then, by
government
you
cheese.
knowing that, why would you still look at him side eye then?
Well, but I didn't know that about him then.
Oh, you
That's
talking
why
when he first saw you,
yeah,
you thought that?
Yeah, like that developed. That knowing that about him, that developed over
Okay.
time. You know what I mean? But it's like, because initially, again, it wasn't like he wasn't walked in. It was like Denzel, like
Yeah.
that's him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was like, oh, we friends.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing, and we had gotten talking about how, well, a real relationship that has the ability to sustain longevity
Comes from friendship.
is friendship with attraction. That's
Yep.
the way we
Yeah.
defined it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I never saw him as a friendship with attraction. I was like, you friend, you in
Yeah.
the friend zone.
Yep.
And then my sister was like, you talk about him a lot. You sure you? I was like, nah, we just good friends. I felt safe. You got a girlfriend. I'm good.
Yeah.
And I had previous relationship with this guy. He would go to church with me just because he was trying to be around me. I was like, and I had made this vow to God. I was like, Lord, I don't want nobody who's not chasing after you. I had just made this vow, right?
That's good.
And I didn't, and it was very distinctive. Not somebody who goes to church, not somebody who dons the title Christian,
Yeah.
somebody who is hungering after you
Yeah.
and hungering to be like Christ, to grow into the character, right? Because that's two different things.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Two different things. And
Hold on, how old were you during this time thinking like that?
20, let's see, so I met him, I was in 94. So, okay, we got married, I was 26. So it was like 22 years old, 21.
You were
21.
saying you wanted somebody that was chasing after God at 21.
But I was very passionate about the Lord myself. And I knew at that point, I just knew that, you know what? My life is found in him.
Amen.
And I know I want somebody who loves him like I do.
Were you raised in church?
Yeah, I was raised
Yeah.
in church. But also I found a lot of people who raised in church that don't mean nothing. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's important to understand that I think the biggest thing, my mother really showed me a relationship with God in my house, not just my mom, in my family. God was a part of the family. He was a member of the family.
Yeah.
He was the one holding us all together.
That's
right?
good.
And that's what made it different for me. It wasn't just about religion. It really was about relationships.
So you always desired marriage, even at a young age?
That's a good question. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that. I think eventually, yes. I wasn't one of those, I can't wait to go down the aisle, you know. But I know I wanted a God kind of life. And for me, I knew eventually that meant, you know, marriage, and eventually I wanted to have kids. But I was not the typical, like,
You wasn't, did you see yourself like, I'm gonna be married by 25 or I'm gonna be married by 30? You never put goals? You were just like, when it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
I know I want the fullness of God, and that may entail being married and having kids or whatnot, but were you just more career focused?
I actually was. I went to school for music business. So Dr. Miles really shaped our lives, because when I read on, you know, it was Purpose-Driven Life, not purpose-driven, that's not purpose. It was In Pursuit of Purpose, and on becoming, potential. Why now? I'm feeling real bad right now.
My
my husband, he's looking down on heaven right now. He's looking. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm sorry. What is the book? I've had brain surgery. Full stop. I've had an aneurysm and brain surgery. And sometimes I can't remember things.
I understand.
Can somebody Google that title for me, Dr.
They're
Miles?
gonna put it in the comments.
Yeah, they'll put it in the comments.
Okay. So, Understanding Your Potential. Thank you, Holy Spirit.
There it is.
Understanding Your Potential was the book that changed my life. Okay. So I read Understanding Your Potential, and he talked about how we are not born by accident. We are born for a purpose. Like, it was strategic. There was a reason. There was a need God had in the earth.
Yeah.
And he literally put you here to solve that.
Amen.
And that blew my mind. I was in high school trying to think about what I was going to do in college, like what I was going to do for a living, what I wanted to do with my life, where I was going to go to college. And the Lord really just started me thinking about, what is my purpose, right? And I counted a blessing, right? That I started, he said, what's the thing that you would do for free?
Yep.
Right? And I said, okay, well, I love ministry. I love God, right? And I said, I love music. Right. And I was like, but I'm not a singer. Like, I did worship, you know, in church, but I'm like, I am not the artist. and I said, oh, music business, but gospel music business. And that is what I went to NYU for music business. And that's how I got really focused in that. And I worked at like the first gospel music label in New York City, which was Verity. It was part of Jive Zamba. Yeah. When it really, it was me and the director started it.
Wow.
Okay. So John P. Key's Gold Record, that was me.
Wow.
Like, Show Up, you know, that big show.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling my age, I'm 54, no problem. Yeah. And so that was what I was doing. And then how I met Candace, she was my first intern of because I had a talent management firm. I was representing gospel hip hop artists like the Ambassador from Cross Movement. Yes,
because that's where she,
Right. And she was my marketing intern. And I mean, you're talking about, you're working the Dove Awards, the Stellars, all of that. And all of a sudden, now I got married. I'm 30 years old. Like, picture of what you call Black excellence. I'm now happily married, 30 years old for 4 years now, right? And my husband and I are like, oh, you know, we've been happily, we didn't do the trying to get married, have a baby right away. We were happily married, and we were like, now it's time to grow our family. We're planners. Right?
4 years later.
4 years later, this is a good time. Yeah. We've experienced the transition. I am working at a top PR agency at this time, okay? And I'm also building my own talent management firm on the side, and that's where Candace was working with me. Now I start dealing with infertility issues because I'm not conceiving for 6 months. Went to the GYN, and the doctor is like, oh, you have the word that changed my life, fibroids.
Yep.
And I was like, what? What is this? What is that? Benign tumors that occur in and around the uterus that cause everything from heavy bleeding to infertility to life-threatening anemia that can cause a heart attack to, just severe pain and terrible periods. And at that time, that was my only symptom, was an issue with fertility. But that precipitated my, what I call $1 million baby journey, right? Here I was,
$1 million.
$1 million baby journey. Easy. Wow. Here I am at the Dove Awards, hemorrhaging, being rushed to the hospital, right? Like, this is the kind of life I was
at the
living.
Dove Awards.
At the Dove Awards, yeah. And my journey was 14 years battling fibroids, 10 years of infertility from that, 5 surgeries for fibroids. It was 15 surgeries altogether, right? 5 for fibroids, 5 for complications from the fibroid surgeries, right? So I'll give you an example of what that means. Second fibroid surgery, they cut me open and stem to stern because it was so bad, I couldn't even walk. The pain was so bad. And he said it was one of the worst cases of fibroids he'd ever seen. 10 days later, they have to open me back up because I can't hold water, food, anything down. And what had happened is I developed something called a small bowel obstruction, it means that the scar tissue, you know what your body has to form scar tissue to heal. It's very natural. It can form something called adhesions, which is this sticky bands, right, that now wrapped around my small intestines, where now they were knotted up. Vomiting, can't keep water down, can't even digest my own body fluids. So they have to put this tube up my nose, down into my stomach to just pump out all of my body fluids to try to let it heal. Didn't heal, so they have to cut me back open to cut out almost 2 feet of small intestine.
God.
Now you're born with 20 to 25, right? That's the first time they cut me.
This is at 30 years old.
This is at,
34.
at this point,
34.
At this point I was, let me see, because this is the second surgery, so I was 36 at this time.
Okay.
This first surgery seemed no complications, but I didn't get pregnant.
Okay.
6 years later, they came back. So 2006 now, I'm having another surgery for fibroids. Now the symptoms were really bad. That's when I couldn't walk. Like the pain was shooting up my entire body. And they said, okay, the fibroids are back. Because she said, oh, you should conceive, no problem. I didn't conceive. But you're 30, you're young, you're thinking like, it'll happen.
Yeah, I have a little time.
Right,
Yeah.
it'll happen. But the fibroids are back. And now I'm having a secondary surgery, 20 plus days combined in the hospital. The recovery was brutal.
20 days.
No, together it's been over 120 days from all the surgeries, because that continued to happen. Because I did 5 IVF cycles. 5. Cha-ching. 5. Cha-ching, because they didn't cover it then.
Yeah.
There's more coverage now. They weren't covering it, right?
Gosh.
So what I didn't know was that every time I was doing the pumping my body with the hormones, it was causing the fibroids to grow again. So I'm either having a fibroid surgery or I'm doing IVF, right? And every time we do another fibroid surgery,
Wait.
they're cutting more.
I want to pause there. So because I've frozen my eggs twice.
Which is great. Fantastic. Go you.
Thank you.
And if you have not frozen your eggs and you want to conceive and it's later in your life, please freeze your eggs. That was a PSA.
Yeah. But you mentioned what you're pumping your body with. So there's
hormones.
a lot of, hormones that you're pumping your body with in order to, go through
Stimulate
that process.
the development. Yeah.
So walk that back, explain
Yeah.
that. So I'm pumping my body. So you're telling me freeze my eggs, but
Yeah.
I'm pumping my body with hormones that are going to stimulate my fibroids.
Yeah, it does. So it's because hormonal imbalance is one of the root issues, right? So at that point, it's a cost connected to it because you want to freeze your fertility as soon as you can, right?
Right.
So the other thing that's really critical, and which I did not know, well, let me finish that part of the story first and I'll come back. So I've had now every time I love it. I love it.
Thank
Such
you,
a
honey.
good husband. But every time the fibroids came back, they did another surgery, right? So finally, after the 5th IVF cycle, I conceived. Right now, we had a miscarriage the first time. I forgot that part,
Okay.
which was devastating. That was the first IVF cycle. But they're like, you're young, you'll be fine. 5th IVF cycle, I conceived.
The
5th one.
And put this in perspective. How much does IVF cost each time?
Oh, 15 to 30,000.
Yeah.
Easy. Yeah, and it was really out of pocket then.
And I know in California, at least at the place I was going to in the Valley, I think it's like 30,000 a pop. Yeah.
Well, I think now they give you more than just one. Sometimes they give you
Okay.
like 2 out of 3 or something like that.
Okay.
There's development. And remember, this is happening back in 2008 for
Okay.
me, right? So 21 weeks, not 21 weeks, we conceived after the 5th IVF cycle. And we're developing, the pregnancy's going well. I go to the doctor, and at 21 weeks, they're like, you hear them kind of whispering. The doctor and the tech are whispering. And you know when the doctors whisper, it's never anything
Yeah.
good. And they say, Mrs. Thompson, we need to speak to you in the office. Will you come to the office? When I tell you, I never forget that moment sitting across from that doctor. And my husband was out of town because he was on his first, he had just become a CFO of one of GE's businesses. He was in corporate America for 30 years and in Schenectady. And the doctor says, Mrs. Thompson, he said, the baby isn't growing the way it should. And you might want to consider terminating the pregnancy. Now, this is 10 years in. This is 10 years in, okay? And he said, you might want to consider terminating the pregnancy. And I said, why? He says, because your womb is going to become a hostile environment for this baby because the fibroids, I had just had another surgery less than 6 months before that. I had a myomectomy. But they were growing and taking the life supply away from the baby, right? So he said, plus you have kidney issues. This is going to become dangerous for you and the baby. So he said, you might want to consider terminating the pregnancy. And I said, excuse me. I said, sir, he said, doctor, I believe in miracles. And I'm not giving up on this baby. And he said, okay. He said, I've been doing this long enough to know that science doesn't have all the answers. Let's just buckle up and go along for the ride. They gave us the hormones for the steroids for the baby's lungs because what was happening is called absent of blood flow. Like where there's blood flow that's supposed to go, there was gaps in the blood flow to the baby, right? 6 weeks later, it got worse, where the blood flow was now being pulled away.
Wow.
It's called reversal.
It's going to
blood
reverse,
flow.
yeah.
Reversal of blood flow. They admitted me to the hospital right away. They said, Mrs. Thompson, right now, we're just hoping that you can remain pregnant for at least 72 more hours. Because when this happens, what we've seen textbook, you have to have emergency surgery. And when we get there, they're telling us that they had me meet with neonatal and the gastro team because they're saying the baby's not viable.
How many
They're trying
weeks?
to prepare me. The baby is actually, at this point, we were 26 weeks. Okay. But the baby was so small. It was a condition called fetal growth restriction because the fibroids were pulling the life away from the baby, right? So they're like, this baby is not even viable, right? And I remember my husband came from out of town. He said, he said, how long? I remember he went to the doctor before this when I first got told that. He said, I'm going to quote you, baby. He said, doctor, he says, how long does my wife need to be pregnant, right? For how long do we need to keep this pregnancy? And the doctor said, well, Mr. Thompson, it would have to be at least 30 weeks for it to be sustainable, a viable pregnancy. He said, doctor, He says, don't laugh. He said, my little man, because he swore it was a boy, okay? He said, my little man is going to give you between 32 and 33 weeks, right? So I always said, baby, well, you got part of it right. So they admit us to the hospital. They admit me to the hospital. And the nurse is like, they're trying to keep me from having birth as long as I can, right? Now, we have prayer warriors all over on this, all right?
Yeah.
Every day, they're testing me from 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 times a day. They're testing me. And, well, we have another sunrise. This baby's okay today. To the tune of 8 weeks. Wow. Every day, we have another sunrise. To the tune of 8. To now, at 30 weeks, the doctor says to me, this is another doctor. It was the attending on, I never forget that morning. He says, Mrs. Thompson, I just want to apologize because we weren't trying to scare you because we have never seen this before. Textbook, this baby was not supposed to make it, right? Textbook, 72 hours is all you had. And I said to him, I said, it's okay. I didn't expect you to know my God.
Come on.
I didn't expect you to know what he was doing. I didn't expect you to know, but I had to know. 2 weeks later, they scheduled our C-section. 32 to 33. It was between the 32 and 33rd week. Because they said, well, at this point, the baby is actually healthier, is a healthier outside than inside.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. And they didn't want me to have an emergency situation because we had, then they had all the scar tissue they had to deal with because of all my previous surgeries. So they wanted to have as much control of the situation as possible. Okay. But on the delivery table, my heart stops. My doctors never forgot that. He said, all I heard is, get that baby out of there right now. They took my husband out, rushed him out, put me under, because at that point, I was under an epidural, but they said, we're going to put you fully under, because all I know is things were like going black. And what happened because of that scar tissue that was all from all the surgeries, that in trying to not damage the baby, trying to gently get to it, they caused my heart to stop, right? So, but thank God I'm here. And my baby was born and she's amazing. And she's an incredible, she was born 2.5 pounds.
2.5 pounds.
2.5 pounds.
How long did your baby stay in NICU then?
30 days.
30
only.
Days.
And I'm going to say only because they said, and I quote, this baby is so feisty. She knows whatever. And one nurse, I remember the NICU one day, she said to the baby, she's talking to her, she said, I hope I'm around to see how you change the world. Wow. Because I know this child is going to change the world. And I was struggling because remember now I had secondary surgery because they had to repair the small intestines that were damaged in the surgery. So I didn't even see her until the next day. Like I didn't hold my baby until the next day.
How long did your heart stop for?
Seconds.
Okay.
Seconds. It's not something they want, period.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But they were able to quickly resuscitate me.
Okay.
And, it wasn't until, I thought this was my personal hell until Essence did this story on me and it went viral. It was like women all over the world were like, it's like sharing gave them permission to share the story, right? That they were like, no, I'm 3 myomectomies in. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Your story has given me hope.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and that's literally how God changed my story. I was like, okay, I always say that when I birthed her, she birthed me. So she says she's the co-founder of my company. She's like,
She is.
Mommy, I'm the co-founder.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, she is.
You know,
She is.
and what's hilarious is, because God wastes nothing, right? At 3 years old, my miracle baby. Now at this point, you know, she's the sun, the moon, and the stars. We waited 10 years for this baby. You know what I mean? And I took her to see Cinderella on Broadway. And it was Keke Palmer was playing the first Black Cinderella on Broadway, first time. And, you know, I wanted her to see that main character energy, us being the main character, just because representation, it gives us power and permission.
Absolutely.
And she turns to me. She was just 3 years old at the curtains closed. And she said to me, Mommy, I'm supposed to be on the stage. I lie to you not. But I ain't get it. I thought, you know, she's the center of attention because she's the only child. She liked to be the center of attention, right? And then she said to me, 5 years old, same thing. We came to her school for the first time. Mommy, they had a big stage. There's a stage here. She runs to it. She says, Mommy, I'm supposed to be on the stage. Wow. And I'm like, yeah, baby, there's going to be presentations here. You're going to be a part of it. It's going to be awesome.
I am the presentation. I'm the presentation.
She was like, 8 years old, we took her to see The Lion King for her 8th birthday. And this woman, a dear friend of my sister's, Sharon, took us for a backstage tour. And she turned Nia, she says to Nia and her two besties, says, what do you want to be when you grow up? And Nia says, my daughter's Nia, means purpose. Shout out Dr. Miles Monroe again. She says, I want to be in The Lion King. That's what she said at 8 years old. And 4 years. So wait, no, at 6 years old, I forgot to say at 6 years old. 6 years old, this is when she yanked my chain. She said, Mommy, I'm supposed to be in my first project.
No, she did not say project.
By the time because I wasn't getting it when she kept saying be on the stage. She said, I'm supposed to be in my first project by the time I'm 7 or 8.
Wow. She done told you, huh?
Yo,
are you over there holding up her destiny?
By the time I said, whoa, it was like I said, that's very serious. It shook me because it was like very specific. And I was like, well, Lord, what do I do with this? And I started looking for an agent and she got signed right away. And her first project was booked literally a month after her 8th birthday, excuse me. Wow.
And what was that?
It was a short film. She actually ended up working with Lupita Nyong'o on a short film project.
First film.
Yes.
With Lupita.
Right.
Okay.
So I mean, I was like,
she
okay,
belongs
God.
on the stage.
And she said she belongs. And she did on her 12th, the night before her 12th birthday, she booked the role of young Nala in The LionKing on Broadway. And she did that for 8.5 months. So God turned around and made me a talent manager for this one.
What you look.
Wow.
Look.
You already had the training.
I said all that. Yes. He's like,
he don't waste nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. And while, you know, he literally started to, once my story came out, I became an advocate where I was like, wait a minute, why are all these women suffering and there are no marches and there's no education? Why do I felt like I was all by myself, becoming a medical assistant, trying to piece all the parts together. And I realized that literally it's a public health issue that is underserved. And I went from being an activist to a founder. I started my own holistic health company called Detox Now and really started focusing on first of all, what's driving these things, right? And then I learned that the same things driving these things are driving inflammatory health issues like high blood pressure, like diabetes, like cancer, because they're core to us as people, period, right? In terms of the inflammatory health issues that we deal with. And I was like, okay, well, wait a minute. Why aren't we finding this out?
Yeah.
Why aren't we knowing this? And that really is what, for me, it became a mantra that we have to put the cavalry's not coming.
Yeah.
We have to put the power in
good.
our hands.
Yeah.
Right. And when I learned that you battle fibroids, I was like, I got to talk to her.
I do. And so I kind of wanted to ask, as you know, someone who is dealing with fibroids currently, what are the things you said? There's so much that we don't know, and I'm sure you've got a book or two or three on all of the things we should know. But at a high level,
absolutely,
what are some of the key things that we should be aware of and in tune to?
Yeah, absolutely. So I did write a book called End Fibroids Manual and Guide. Okay. It's at my website, but the company is Detox Now and the website's The Detox Now.
So we got to go get the book.
Yes. But the key thing is when people think around fibroids that if I have surgery, because it's really the surgery and temporary drugs are the only real treatment options that they offer, right? Outside of don't bother them if they don't bother you. Don't let one person tell you don't bother them if they don't bother you. Find another doctor. That's just not going to serve you because they will eventually. Waiting till they bother you is not a strategy.
Of course. Sounds crazy.
So it's like an oncoming train. I'm like, oh, I'm going to wait till it hits me. No, right? So the 4 key drivers that have been really identified by research, because there's so many papers on this now, are, of course, stress is a key driver of all illness, period, right? It's called, if you look at the word dis-ease, dis-ease, break in peace. It's in the break in the peace, right?
Good.
It's the root of really all illness, right? Because it starts the whole chronic inflammation in your body. It disrupts your hormones, right? And it causes your body to start to fight itself, right? So as people of color, we're disproportionately affected by that. As Black women, even more, right?
Why?
Because the trauma of racism, the trauma of misogyny, right? It is literally embedded in the life that we have to fight twice as hard. Just look at just whether it's just being a woman or being a person of color, period, right? So think about it. Even if you're not dealing with it on a micro level in your own direct life, you're dealing with it on a macro level, right? Microaggressions, the fact that people look at you just because of your skin color, right? The news, you see what's happening all the time. So it's just a reality. It's the landscape of how we, the context of our lives, right? So because of that, we have to be even more intentional about reducing our stressors and not allowing those things that are toxic unnecessarily in our lives, right? So stress, but the things that we can help reduce our stressors, right? But people will say, well, stress is just like, it's a lot. There are things you can do to help with stress. But then also, here's one that's very preventable. Vitamin D deficiency, right? Huge. Vitamin D deficiency is actually significant for men and women, but it disproportionately affects people of color because our melanin, it actually blocks the absorption of the sun. Now, our melanin protects us from so much,
right?
But in that, it actually causes the way that your body absorbs and creates the vitamin D hormone is that your body has a photosynthesis process where it absorbs the light from the sun, the UVB rays, and it develops and creates the vitamin D hormone, okay? Now, vitamin D has a critical role in what? Strengthening your immune system, strengthening your bones, reducing chronic inflammation, balancing your hormones, all right? As well as protecting your cardiovascular health.
Wow.
5 key functions.
Key functions.
Okay?
Yeah.
Which can easily be fixed by just making sure your vitamin D is not just, and that's a whole other thing, not just what I call, I call it, they say it's normal at 30, right? But it's actually the high range is 30 to 100.
Yeah.
So it's actually what its therapeutic levels is around 60 to 80.
I'm glad you said that because I just got prescribed like medical vitamin D that the doctor actually gave me.
How many IUs is it?
I don't remember that. I just went through the whole thing.
Is it once a week or is it every
It was
day?
once a week.
Right. So it doesn't have K2 in it. So
Got
that's
it.
the other thing.
Okay.
So D3, and this is not just for her, it's for you and her. D3 has to be taken with K2, right? Because D3 helps your body absorb calcium, because remember, it strengthens your bones. You learned that all your life.
Yeah.
Vitamin D, milk, it's strong bones. But it doesn't tell you that K2 is what actually directs that calcium to your bones so that it doesn't stick in your arteries and cause that hardened plaque, right? Where it can damage your cardiovascular health as well as calcify those fibroids, right? So that the calcium doesn't affect your tissues. So it's like the traffic director, right? So we don't want struggle bus D3.
Yeah. Most
doctors, and I promise you, somebody who tells you your D3 is normal, number one, look at the number, right? If it's 30 to 45.
Mine was 28. I remember that
that's
number.
Deficient.
I
So
know.
that's
I
deficient,
know. That's
right?
deficient.
So you want to be
So
between 60 and 80.
You want
Yeah.
to be between 60. That's called therapeutic levels. Therapeutic levels means that's the level at which your D3 actually plays an active role in your healing.
Okay.
Okay. So there's been studies that show how D3 therapy has been used to actually help fight the fibroids, to help prevent them, to help to shrink them. Again, but remember, it's connected to those six health functions, right? So how easy is it to fix? Just take the D3 plus K2 daily. But we're so miseducated.
So you said the
around
daily one versus by her getting the weekly one.
Well, she's about to get mine, which is
Right.
daily
Yeah.
and with the K2.
Okay.
That's important because they will give you high levels of D3.
So I need to take some too, don't I?
Yes.
Is
Yeah. I'm sending it for
For
the
your
both of you.
fibroids. For your fibroids.
I ain't got no
No,
fibroids.
for his health, period.
For my baby's health. Yes.
And if I were to tell you how many women, these coaching sessions I have, and I asked them, okay, you were diagnosed with fibroids. What did your doctor tell you about D3? Nothing. It is strongly linked to the number one hormone your body uses to fight inflammation and tumor is D3.
So how? I don't want to say why they not telling
So
me.
why?
Yeah.
Because
Well, to be clear, in case my doctor is watching this,
Yes.
they did give me the D.
no, I'm
the
sure
D3.
she did.
But
Good
then
for
give you a
she
K2.
did.
But
That's
she didn't
good.
give me
She
the
give you a
K2.
K2.
So I just want to keep honest in case she's watching.
No, thank God she
Yeah.
did tell you that.
Yeah.
Because guess what? The other thing is though, they will tell you, they'll tell you that your number is normal and it's struggle bus. All right. So struggle bus is 30 to 40, 45. You really, again, you want it between 60 and 80.
I've
right?
been struggling for years. I'm going to look at all my reports
But
because
I
I keep a
bet
binder.
you were never taking enough if you ever were taking D3. Were you taking D3
I
before
was
this?
taking it.
How much were you taking?
Once a week.
I got to go back and look at, but I've been taking.
But so that's the other
I don't
big
know how
mistake
much.
is that we're told take D3.
Yeah.
But do you know if you're not taking a minimum of, so 2,500 is how much you take just to keep your levels normal.
Wow.
Many times when I ask you how much D3 you taking, oh, it's in my multivitamin. How much is that? Like 400 IU. That's
not
what,
25,
and then guess
yeah.
what they say, Laterras? I could never get my D3 up.
It's so
that's-
little, so minimal.
But let me ask you, because some people believe like we should get a lot of these vitamins from the food that we eat.
D3 is not one of those.
So you don't get D3
Not
from
really,
food.
no. It's very hard to
Okay.
get D3.
you got to eat a
Very.
whole lot.
Sunlight.
Yeah.
Sunlight.
Yeah.
It's not really a food source.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really,
The sun.
through the sun. That is number one. But guess what? It's not just any sun. It's not, oh, the sun is out. Let me go get D3. No, it is the sun has to be when the sun's altitude is above 50. That's when the sun is emitting something called UVB rays. Okay.
Yep.
UVB rays are not the temperature, the altitude, like the positioning of the sun.
So when it's at its zenith, around noon?
Right. So, but depending on where you are living,
Right.
you don't even get UVB rays all year round.
Right.
Right. Here in Dallas, you get them more because you're
Yeah.
closer
Right.
to the equator.
Yeah.
Typically, the closer you are to the equator, the more UVB rays are available during the day.
That's why a lot of people down in South America and all that, they probably don't deal with a lot of stuff we deal with, huh?
But guess what? A lot have the opportunity not to. But I have clients who live in very high temperature and UVB areas, but where they usually between 10 and 2 o'clock, where most people
Work.
Right.
Yeah.
So because they're at work, they're not basking. And the more melanated you are,
Yep, it's
the
kinda-
longer
longer.
you have to be in
Yeah.
the sun for the melanocytes to be activated. So this is why if you are a person of color, you better be taking D3 plus K2 every day.
That's good.
Whether it's to maintain it, because that's the other thing. I have a client, she had gotten up to 90. She was like, Coach Gessie, I'm doing great. Her doctor told her, you're good now. You don't need to take it anymore. She didn't tell me until
Told her to stop
afterwards.
taking it.
So she was like, "Oh, you're good. You don't need it anymore." 3 months later, she's at a 35. Struggle
It
Three
bus.
months?
dropped that fast.
Struggle bus.
3 months later.
3 months later.
Wow.
So she was taking 2,500 a day.
She was taking, no, at that point, she was taking, I think she was taking about 7,500 a day. So if you're
75.
I use.
No,
yeah.
I'm talking about before that to get to 90.
No, to get to 90, she was taking about 7,500 to 10,000. But you want to take between 5 and 10,000
A day?
A day.
Yes, to get it up there. The one that they prescribed to her is about 50 or 33,000 for once a week.
Okay.
So it's about 5,000 a day, right?
Okay.
Right.
Yep,
So
that makes sense.
yeah. So what you want to do, take between 5 and 10, depending on how deficient you are and how symptomatic you are. If you're trying to reverse your symptoms, you want to get high and healthy ASAP.
Yep.
You're not trying to take your time.
Take your time and
Yeah.
Cadillac your way there.
we got work to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always say it's like going to war with no ammunition in your gun.
Yeah.
Your body doesn't have the reserve to
yeah.
actually, and guess what it affects also? Menopause. There are women who are dealing with severe menopause symptoms, perimenopause symptoms,
Earlier.
because of their D3 deficiency.
That makes sense.
But we do need to get outside.
Absolutely.
Still, right? So
we
take-
need to go outside
yeah.
just because of fresh air.
Yeah,
We need
yeah.
to go outside for exercise,
Right.
all of those things. But actual D3 therapy,
Yep.
we need to be doing that on it.
need
So,
to do
so
that.
it was stress, D3 deficiency. And guess what? The reason I always say D3 is so important is also it's connected to the chronic inflammation and the hormonal imbalance, which are the other two.
Okay.
Because D3 helps balance your hormones and reduce chronic inflammation.
Okay.
So in and of itself, it helps to do that. And it's connected to reducing your stressors. It's connected to mental health, brain health. I forgot that. That's another one, brain health.
That's
right?
good.
Right? So if you don't do nothing else, get your D3 plus K2, right? Because it affects so much health, period. And that is why the statistic is 75% of Americans are D3 deficient.
73.
75%.
75%. So that's all ethnicities.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And see, with white people are our Caucasian friends. They don't have to take as much. They don't have to stay in the sun as much. But they suffer from it, but we suffer from it more.
Of course.
Because the exposure, it takes a lot more.
takes a lot
and we
more.
have the melanin that's blocking it. Now, chronic inflammation is something, and hormonal imbalance are the other two. So it's
Okay.
stress, vitamin D deficiency, chronic inflammation, and hormonal imbalance. Let's talk about hormonal imbalance real quick. 80% of the products that are marketed to Black women are toxic. They are contaminated with ingredients that actually lead to hormone disruption, reproductive damage, and carcinogens, right? So you're talking about beauty products. You're talking about lotions and the home care products, all of those things. So it's legal to poison us in these United States, right?
Of America.
So we have to use very freebie. There's an app called Yuka. They don't pay me or anything. I don't shop without them. Do you use them at all?
I don't.
Heard of
Okay, YUKA. Let me put y'all on. YUKA.
Okay.
Download that app. It will change your shopping experience. You just scan the barcode and it'll give you a number that tells you if it's safe, if it's healthy, or if it's toxic, right?
That's good.
And it's also going to not just tell you the number, it's going to tell you what's toxic about it, because there's so many toxins that are hidden in the
You ain't
names
gonna be
of
able to shop at
chemicals
nothing. You ain't
that
gonna
you
be
don't
buying
know.
nothing.
But when you scan it, you're going to find
You're gonna
things
be like,
are
I'm
great.
just gonna take air.
I'm
just gonna put
already
air on my body.
but I'm already very aware of stuff and a little OCD about certain things.
And
so
a little bit, a lot of bit.
So
No, but there are
he's
good.
gonna be like,
I
why
promise
did she get
you.
This? He's gonna be so stressed out.
I'm just gonna sit
Coach
there and just, I'm
Gessie,
just gonna
he's
sit on
gonna
the
be
floor
like,
and
why did she put
I'm just gonna drink water.
this?
I'm telling you, you're going to love it, because guess
I
what?
ain't gonna
Now,
love nothing.
you're going to find the good things.
No, I'm
That's
not.
right,
There
babe.
are
It's just
plenty
too-
of them.
Babe,
You're
it
just
takes
not
too long.
aware.
This is exciting.
Listen,
It's
when
not
the student
exciting.
is ready, the teacher appears,
Well,
right?
no. Sometimes people drop out too. People drop out of school every day.
Listen,
Coach Gessie.
student of love.
I know it.
Loving
But you still been
yourself.
talking about scanning stuff and
Yeah,
scanning.
loving yourself means taking care of your health.
I'm gonna tell you what happened to me, because I started getting on my health kick. What was that? About 3 weeks ago, right?
Yep.
And when I tell you, I just won't do nothing but just eat salad all the time. It's like I literally will go. I ain't finna give them best restaurant I go to.
I got you.
They ain't give me no money, and so y'all want to endorse
y'all
me.
Money.
Y'all want to do a sponsorship. I will shout y'all out. But I go to this place and I just been eating beets and everything else and edamame and
but
chickpeas.
We're not talking about just food.
Well, I'm talking about period. Are you talking about lotion and all that stuff? That's for her to do.
I do. I'm into
that,
but
it's going to be easy.
What's the stuff you got that you take bath with?
Dr. Bronner's.
Dr. Bronner stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like.
But when you scan it and you see, oh, this is clean and I love this, you just switch out your products.
Dr. Bronner's better be clean.
I don't know.
Uh-oh.
You'll find out.
I'm be mad.
But but can I tell you something that's horrible?
What?
Fabric softener. Any
I
fragrance.
knew you were going to say
fabric
that.
softener
I
and
knew
air
it.
fresheners.
No.
Air fresheners. I take them out anywhere I go.
Darn it.
When I tell you it's one of the most lethal things is fragrance. But there are perfumes that are not, that are phthalate free.
You're talking about air fresheners, pure to like incense and stuff. Incense is bad, but you're talking about air freshener.
Use a, what do they call it? Use a
diffuser?
No, you can use candles for, you know what I mean?
I thought candles were really bad.
No,
unless
depends
you
on what.
Where you burning paraffin.
It depends on what. But bottom line is,
go to Yucca.
Lemons. Go to Yucca. Again, they're not paying me nothing like that.
Think we some naturalists. We're gonna walk around with bowls. We're sitting up here with
when I
bowling.
tell you,
I like that.
When I tell you,
you don't like that.
I do like that.
Sitting up here with orange peels.
Your body loves it, and your wife loves it because she wants you to live long and healthy.
Amen.
Ashley don't want to do all that. Ashley ain't finna be. She ain't finna Google.
Do you deal with allergies?
That I don't want to say.
Yes. So don't even.
No, but I bet you that 80% of your allergies are caused by those things in your home.
Oh, I believe. I believe that.
Yeah.
Now I do believe that because I can go in certain environments. I get to sneezing and doing all that. Then I go to certain things. It's like, yeah. So I know 100% that I can't argue.
And then
with
like
that.
Teflon, in the pots, those things, versus stainless steel.
Now we don't use that.
That's great.
And so I used to sell cookware, so I know
You're
about all that
very
stuff.
aware.
Very aware about all types of the metals and stuff like that.
But it's even in like the natural. Do you know the hair? You know about the braiding hair.
I know about my hair.
That I literally started using. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm not gonna say
a non-toxic braiding hair. Yeah. You don't have to endorse them if you don't want to.
Yeah.
But I use non-toxic.
Y'all need to run me a check on Dear Future Wifey.
But think about that. Things that are against our skin. Things that we're using every day.
It's absorbing into your bloodstream.
That it is that toxic, right? And it's disrupting our hormones. And then when you talk about that presence every day, that now fuels the chronic inflammation. What happens is your body goes through stress level 1. And then that causes your body, you know what chronic inflammation is? You want me? Okay. So your body goes into, we not safe. We not safe. Call the police.
Fighting.
Right. You're in fight or flight. And then that now drives your body to develop chronic inflammation at levels to levels. So now where it actually develops chronic disease, right? And that's what we have so much power to
reverse
stop
that. Yeah, reverse the curse.
By just making those decisions. So for me, it was about, okay, what can we do?
Yeah.
And I noticed that when we started helping women target those 4 things, right? The testimonies, were just incredible.
How long did it take for you to start hearing? Like when someone makes a decision to change behavior, how long does it take to see results?
All right. So I'm going to run down the receipts. You want some receipts?
Go ahead. Let's get it.
So I told you we've been doing this since about 2015. That's when we kind of launched. And our first real major testimony was a woman named Annalise Henry. She's okay with me saying her name. She's shared her story on Breakfast Club with us, You so funny. I just heard you. Listen, How to Get Away with Murder. Come on now. Viola Davis.
That's our show.
Yeah.
I love me some Viola Davis now.
She's not even real.
You work with my homegirl, Annalise Keith.
I love that. She eliminated 50 fibroids, 50 in 6 months.
Did I watch that on your page?
Club.
I watched that on your page earlier today, and I mean, because is that the same one that announced that she had just gotten pregnant?
Oh no, that's another. So
that's another testimonial.
She's last because she's right here in Dallas.
Oh. Okay.
I like her. So another woman. Sorry, I just ran into her husband yesterday. They've had 2 miracle babies. They were trying to conceive for 10 years. Battle fibroids really bad. Her name is Rochelle. Battle fibroids really, really bad to the point where she was on birth control for many years, and birth control actually just masks the symptoms, but it pumps your body with synthetic hormones that fuel in the background. You may be feeling like, oh, the doctor put me on it to regulate my hormones, but all it does is mask the symptoms while it's wreaking havoc in the background. And it's also connected to blood clots, embolisms. So,
and so I've always said that, and here I am as a male. I kept saying that even with my daughter when her mother put on birth control when she was younger. And I was like, maybe I'm just mansplaining this, but that don't make sense. If something is inside your body blocking you from what God naturally allowed to happen, it cannot be good. Because I said God in all his infinite wisdom knew that your blood had to flow a certain way for egg to be released. Release the egg.
It's the detox
and then you say, I'm
your
gonna stop
system.
And I'm just gonna hinder it. And it's like,
I want to
give
me a high five right
there it is.
Thank you.
I said that can't make sense to me. It's like, well, no, that does make this. I said it just doesn't make sense.
So I have a real story that I haven't shared, but I used to as a teenager have very bad periods. So I was on birth control and I was prescribed the patch, and so I was flying.
That's probably what helped fuel those fibroids too.
Probably, I was flying to Pittsburgh to go visit a college. And on the plane, I got very lightheaded. I felt like my blood wasn't flowing properly. And I don't know, like, you know how you're just like, you're dizzy. You're like, I'm off.
I don't know what's losing consciousness.
I was feeling like I was losing consciousness. And my mom's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I don't know. Something's not right. We're midair.
My Lord.
So there's no, like, there's no getting off the plane or calling
That's like
a doctor.
One of the scariest.
It's so scary. I don't know what, but the Holy Spirit said, rip this patch off now.
Girl.
I ripped the patch off and it was amazing. Like as soon as I tore that patch off, everything started to like stop spinning. And I was like, oh, never again.
Yep.
What was the patch pumping into her body?
Hormones, estrogen, hormones.
So just by her snatching off that quick, it just started stopping it?
Yeah, and God interrupted it.
Yeah.
So this woman, she was taking birth control. When she stopped taking it, the fibroids were massive. She didn't realize that was developing her body. She also had really bad cystic acne, and literally, I mean, you're talking about. I'd have to show you. It's so bad, right? And she did our program. And she and her husband did the fast, because we also started fast, like a water fast, because we realized, oh, wait a minute, if your body's sick, you need to reset your body's detox functions to help it accelerate the healing. And they conceived within like 5 months. Wow. They had their first miracle baby, and they're the second miracle baby. Wow. Then we had another client, Laterras. She shrunk a 10-centimeter fibroid in 4 months, right? Working with us.
That's
and
amazing.
Then Daphne, who is in Beyond the Gates. Y'all watch Beyond the Gates at all? Do you know what Beyond the Gates is?
It's a TV show.
Beyond the Gates is the first ever hour-long Black soap opera.
Okay.
Right? And let me tell y'all something. Black excellence, all right, NAACP Image Awards, not Image Awards, the NAACP did this show in venture with CBS. Okay. Oh. And it's the first of its kind. It's really historic, where you see an affluent Black family, all right? The center story, and really they're dealing with a lot of different things. But what I love about it is representation. We get to see us on TV every day.
Yes.
All right? So please support. So she's on set. She has fibroids. She doesn't know about like what's going on. She just has really heavy periods. She's on set. Her doctor's calling her because she finds out she is down to a hemoglobin of 5.5. That is, your body, think about as 10 is the number that your body had. So she's almost at half the blood in her body. She was like, the way she said it, 1 cycle away from a stroke or a heart attack, right?
Wow.
She had a 45-day cycle.
45
A woman
days.
with the issue of blood.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
In 6 weeks on our balancer kit, she's down to a 7-day. Then the next month, it was a 6-day cycle. Okay. Because again, you're targeting the root.
Yes, the root.
And then I have to share, Selena, who is here, D-Town, Dallas.
Yeah.
who, she was told she had a 9.1 centimeter fibroid with the largest one. She was told she had to have surgery right away if she wanted to have a baby, because they were trying to conceive and she had had a miscarriage. And then when she asked about what, she found out she had fibroids. She has a husband who's into fitness, and he just felt like, you know what, there has to be a natural way, because God created the body to heal itself.
Sure did.
Amen.
Sure did.
It is amazing
Yeah.
when we get out the way
Yep.
what the body will do, right? She decided to do the balancer kit, and in 6 weeks, she did another scan that documented that her fibroid had shrunk from 9.1 centimeters to 4 centimeters. Wow. And within a month, they conceived, and they just had their baby.
Aww.
Literally, I flew in on Friday. They just had their baby.
Wow.
So
as
that's
I was
that's where
coming
you came.
in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Glory.
Wow.
And that, so
Yeah.
again, you know, and this is just on the fibroid side. We've had people reverse high blood pressure and, you know, just deal with regulating their cholesterol, chronic pain. Like, there are people who wake up in pain every day,
I know
and they're
it.
like, I'm not supposed to live like this. And when you reset your body, because that is an indication that inflammation is in control in your body. And that means it's prime for other chronic health issues.
Let me ask you this. Can a person do a program with you but don't stop the problem? Like, for instance, I have a loved one that smokes cigarettes. So can they be doing that, still smoking cigarettes?
So there are different levels of toxicity, and smoking is one of those really bad ones, right? It's like saying, you know, can I continue to, you know, not just have a glass of wine, but drink every day,
Yeah.
right? You know, alcohol is now linked to cancer,
Yeah.
right? And it's not that you won't see any improvement, because doing something good, I feel, this is what I say. I say, start doing something good and you'll want to do the bad things less, right? Because it's like when you start to love on yourself, right? By loving who God made you to be, and you start to pursue healing, you become less attached to those things that are actually drawing away and actually damaging you, right? It's a natural thing. So I focus less on what you need to stop doing. I focus more on what you need to start doing.
That's
right?
good.
And when you start doing
You'll
those
stop
things,
doing other stuff.
yeah. It's just like
Going to
you know,
Christ.
pursue God.
Yeah. Think about the church. Once you give your life to Christ, you'll stop doing all the bad stuff.
Well, once you start pursuing Him,
There it is. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Once you pursue Him,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So for us, it's like, hey,
Like,
we
come
give
as you
you
are.
give you the tools.
Yeah.
And people feel like, wow, you know, I can't do they want to be overwhelmed. And for me, it was very critical in formulating our program, was that we wanted our supplements to deal with multiple things. So it's less things you had to less.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I
You
got to
take a
take
bunch of
10
pills?
different
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
about 20 pills.
Yeah.
Right.
I done
It ain't
became,
gonna happen.
became a detox addict.
Yeah, it's not, and I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
It's not maintained. It's not
Yeah.
sustainable.
Yeah.
Right.
So walk us through the process of like how you got these supplements, how you tested them, all of that important stuff that I'm sure
again,
people.
I've been doing this for so many years, and there's so much research around it that it was really partnering with manufacturers that are FDA certified, right? Manufacturers that are FDA, NSF, GMP. Those are the certifications in terms of, because supplements are not FDA certified,
know it.
but the process, right, by which, and then also that all of the ingredients and the protocols were science backed for us. That was really critical, and that we knew that, for instance, if I say to you, I'm giving you vitamin D, but it's not the it's not the therapeutic value.
Yes.
What's that going to do for you?
Yeah,
Right.
I'm just
bootleg
really
version.
giving you. You know how many supplements are out there packed with vitamin D, and really you getting just a little bit,
Yeah.
right? Or it has all these things, these 72 things. But you know, it's like when I hear people say, "Oh, CMOS has 102." First of all, that is not true. Okay. It has like 9, which is good.
Yeah.
But let's not lie and say, you know, let's
It has
look-
everything that your body needs.
nothing has every
Yeah.
single
Yeah.
thing, right? And also that you've taken the time to look at. For me, it's about putting the education back in the people's hands. That's why people would say, Dr. Gessie, I'm like, no. That's why I kept saying I'm a
Coach.
coach because
yeah.
but I want you to become the doctor of your own health.
That's true.
Good.
Right?
That's
that
good.
you understand, because once the power's in your hand,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, then I always say that's why I love women so much, because I say when you impact a woman, you're going to change a whole generation,
Yeah.
community.
Definitely
For
will.
sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so for us, it was about them being premium, right? And also for our protocol was once a day. Because I felt like if I don't get it that one time, it's not a lot of chance I'm gonna get to do it again. You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? Especially when you're dealing with a woman's health issues. Again, we support men with our detoxes, our fasts, and all of this. But when we're looking at the things that are affecting women's health, women barely have time to take care of themselves. We barely do, right? And we need to know that if I do this one thing for myself once a day, I'm gonna see progress. I'm gonna actually make progress. And then when I make progress, I'll be inspired to do more.
Yep.
I'll be inspired to take that air freshener out the house and change the products that I'm using and eat better, right? Because a lot of people say, oh, it's just change your diet. Just stop eating everything that tastes good and stop doing all. It's true.
Stop eating everything
that
that tastes good.
It's true. Oh,
That's what he told me,
grow all
like
your
a-
vegetables. Grow all your vegetables. I'm not growing my vegetables.
He
That's
said
not
to
my
me-
anointing.
He said to me a week ago, he was like, I don't even care about how it tastes anymore. I don't even care what it tastes like.
I said, I'm just going to eat to live. I'm just going to eat whatever it takes. I will eat what, if it's healthy, I'll just be like,
But that's
But
what
shouldn't it
I
taste
said,
good
because
too?
this ring has been tracking like heart health and sleep and all of the stuff. And
how's it going?
you're doing great.
it's going great.
Yeah. She got me. I always joke with people and say she was the first one to get me a ring. She gave me a ring first because when I got with her, she was so concerned. She was like, I want to get your Oura ring. How long had you been on it for? A year at that point?
Maybe like 6 months.
6
Okay.
months.
6 months.
And so she got me the Oura ring and she was like, I don't think you get enough rest. I don't think you do this. And I was like, all right. And then I was like, man, because I was very apprehensive. I don't know why men are like that. Be like, I don't want you tracking my health. You know what I'm saying? And then she talking about add me to the circle. You know, add me to the circle of the thing. I said, man, forget you. So I do all that. So my ring be snitching, telling her I only got X amount of hours of sleep, and my sleep score and all that. So now I started becoming competitive. That's another thing about it.
I
Man,
got a better sleep score than you
watch
now.
my sleep score. Watch my readiness score.
What was your sleep score?
What's your readiness score?
Now it's like, what's your activity score? Oh, you've been going to Orange Theory?
Hold on, let me get.
See, they ain't
let
giving
me
no
get
money. They can't talk about They ain't giving me no money.
yeah.
I'm
Orange
tired of
Theory,
promoting these people. They
call
gotta
us.
give me a check. Run me a check. Run me a check on Dear Future Wifey.
That's right, because we focusing on getting healthy.
That's
so
right.
We want to be a part of it.
That's
Yes,
right.
absolutely.
Or
So-
any Pilates studio.
Yes,
Call
any
us.
classes.
Generic, but you want your name attached to
You
it.
want your name attached, holla at us. So that's what it is. And so I prioritize my health. And it's interesting because people at DM me or comment, I see you losing weight, Laterras. I'd be like, be quiet. You know, but no, it's a compliment. But the truth is that they see the result of being intentional. And I said that it's funny because my boy Kevin on stage made a post where he was encouraging Black men to go to the doctor. He made a post in February about that, and everybody started going off on him, being negative.
Yeah.
They were like, "What you talking about? Go to the doctor? I'm fine. I don't need to go to the doctor."
And they were talking about the prostate thing, right? He was like, "What? That's not just regular visit." He said, "What doctor you going to?"
Oh, so you just like having a finger in your
Right.
booty hole, huh?
Right,
Everybody
right.
started- he was like, I didn't even say.
I didn't
go
even
to
say
the
prostate.
doctor.
I said,
Oh, I
Triggered
bet
much?
you like a man to touch on you.
Triggered?
You like me.
Triggered?
I mean, they started going so in that he was
It
like, forget
was.
it. Don't go to the doctor. I don't care if you live.
Wow.
it's crazy, you know.
I was
And
so mad at it.
it's funny because we love this mantra, "Health is your wealth," right?
Yes.
But we don't really live it in
Yeah.
terms
No.
of generally speaking. I was talking about that at the expo, and I was like, we have this strategy, like get your bag,
Yes.
secure the bag, and I said, but can your body
Hold
that
the bag
the
once you
bag.
get the bag.
Yeah.
So
Can
how
your
long you
body
gonna keep
hold
the
the
bag?
bag?
Yeah.
Right.
Talk a little bit, because you mentioned where your husband works. Talk a little bit about, because I know that this disproportionately affects Black people.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about processed food and what you have seen the effects be on our bodies.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. So processed food means it's just it's the additives, it's the chemicals that are being used, right? So that's part of it drives the chronic inflammation. and the hormonal imbalance. So two of those key drivers, right? And, of course, food is your first medicine. Your first medicine is what you put in your body every day. Yes, your sleep, but what you eat every day, the water that you drink, the food that you eat. So I'm very intentional about whole foods. I am very intentional about eating things that, don't come from a can as much, and are not fast foods as much as possible, right? Because if you think about it, if I'm giving my body, I want the food that I put in my body to heal me, not hurt me.
That's good.
Right? That's what we want. It should be our medicine and not our entertainment. Because that's what we eat for
entertainment.
Yeah, we eat for entertainment.
I always say I want to be my fuel.
It needs to be our fuel.
Yeah.
And explain to people who may not know, because I really think that a lot of people don't know what's processed versus what's real.
Yeah.
So give just a couple of examples of things that people may not know are processed. I hear a big one is like deli meats.
Oh my God.
And people sometimes are just like, I'm having a sandwich that's healthy.
Yeah. So first of all, we have something called the Toxic 8 list, right? In my Fibroids book. And we talk about Toxic 8 is everything from processed foods to, of course, alcohol and any kind of drugs, right? But people don't think about the fact that deli meats, how they come about. You're talking about, it's not even real. Like there are quote unquote antibiotic free. It's actually from a pasture raised. Like you have to really look at all the details. Reading the labels is really important, right? But you're talking about, was it like as close to its natural form as possible is a whole food, right? So that's why I was saying about the app. Like you can use it to scan food too, because there's so many chemicals that you don't even know the names of.
Right.
That's the thing. And in that, they hide so many poisons in those. So and one of the things that makes me really upset with the bread, because people love bread, right? Bread and pasta. But in the US, it's legal to put glyphosate. And there was a whole thing recently about it being, what do you call it? Allowed, voted okay. That's not the proper terminology, but made legal, right? Is the terminology. And glyphosate is illegal. It's banned outside of the US.
In other countries outside of it.
Like you can have pasta and bread in Italy and France and feel good. Not feel bloated.
That is so true.
Because it's not the bread that's the problem. It's what's grown in the seed. It's what's in the farming. You know what I mean? With how they're growing it. It's the glyphosate. And why they use these things is to make it that they last longer on the shelf.
Yep.
So if it's on a shelf, it's probably processed.
Yep.
Right?
That's good.
Because think about that. If something has a expiration date that is what do you think they got in that?
Yeah. To make it last that long.
Yes.
And then once I put it in my body, how long does it last?
Yep.
It doesn't break down.
Yeah.
And what happens if your body can't break it down? If your body can't break it down, it turns into inflammation. Yeah. Which then creates tumors, right?
And creates
damages
disease.
Cell DNA. That's right. It damages our DNA. And now that creates many diseases. So it's actually part of the culture here, right? Dis-ease is part of the culture because of the toxicity that is just laden in everything around us.
You were saying that doctors, what you say about hospitals want you to stay sick? They don't treat the.
The way, I think it's Chris Rock that said it, that the money is in the treatment, not the cure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's because if I cure you,
Yeah.
then you don't have $1 billion business.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? It's like birth controls. Birth control pills have been used not just for contraception. They've been used for acne, hormonal acne. They've been used for cramps, right? Seriously. They're with, she's getting really bad skin. Put her on birth control.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Good Lord.
Yes, and just what you said, stopping the system that God created to detox my body for that. When the truth is, but what are you putting in your body? That, what did Jesus say it? He said we're defiled, not by
what we put in, what's coming out.
Yeah. So tell us, what is, like, just your diet. What is your diet like?
So
Do you eat air for lunch, air for
no. I have a very healthy appetite.
Breakfast.
So remember, part of this thing I didn't finish about my story, which is really important, is that because of all the fibroid surgeries, remember I had the complications where I developed small bowel obstructions. I had to have 5 of those surgeries where I was left with less than 3 feet of small intestine.
So you just kept cutting it off each surgery.
So after each surgery, they had to cut more of the small intestines out because of the scar tissue that it was attached to it, the adhesions.
And you said, I read where they cut 21 feet off?
20 feet. Yeah,
20 feet.
Because I have less than 3 feet left and you're born with 25.
Wow.
Right? So think about that. Now, your immune system, 80% of your immune system is in your gut. Right? 80%. And your brain.
Immune system is in your gut.
That
yes.
is, wow.
Yes.
Think of that.
And your gut is called your second brain. So your brain health and your immune health are literally centralized in your gut, right? So think about the capacity. God designed what you need. You need them 25 feet to operate. I've been left with less than 3 from all this. So that means immunocompromised, right? That means if you saw me when I walked in, I was bundled up because I have to be more intentional about keeping my body, protecting it from immune response.
Okay.
Right? It's easier to get sick, harder to get better.
Yeah.
Okay. So that affects your gut, your ability, your digestive process, right? Now, PSA, anyone who has ever had a C-section, a lap band surgery, a bariatric surgery, any surgery where you've had abdominal surgery of any kind, you have a lifetime risk to develop a small bowel obstruction. Your doctor did not tell you. I want you to take the time to research it.
Yeah.
But any abdominal surgery comes with a lifetime risk. And it doesn't just happen right after surgery. It can happen 10 years down the road. My friend just had a friend of hers, right, who just died from a small bowel obstruction. Wow. Lisa Marie Presley, Elvis Presley's daughter, died from a small bowel obstruction. T-Boz had to get off tour because she had emergency. It was a small bowel obstruction. And it can cause death. If they catch it in time, you can survive like I did, right? But the point is, we're not told that. There are things that we need to do to help our bodies protect your body from developing that small bowel obstruction. Number one, if you cannot have surgery, do what it takes to help your body not to have surgery, right? That's number one, right? That's why our kit helps people to help prevent the fibroids as well, or the endo or the cysts.
But I want to, because you said if the doctor's saying don't fix it, you said don't listen because eventually you have to fix it.
Yes.
But then you're saying you don't want to obstruct your. So talk about that.
So let me clarify that.
Okay.
So there are cases where you have to have surgery, right? Those cases are if you're hemorrhaging,
right?
If it is posing damage to other organs, right? That is like it can be pressing on your bladder to a point where it can cause damage to your kidneys because you're urinating so much, right? It can be at the point where it's pressing on your kidneys, where it's causes something called hydronephrosis, where it's called inflammation of that kidney because it's damaging your ureters. If that is happening, you absolutely need to, because you can't afford to allow kidney damage to develop, right? You need to have that surgery for that purpose, right? If you are trying to conceive right away and you have advanced fibroid disease, your timetable requires for you that you need to have surgery, right? Because of your timetable, right? But if it is not, and some people just want to have it.
Right.
So surgery is an option.
Yeah.
Okay. But I want you to know, if you do choose surgery or you have to have surgery, that you also need to follow a protocol to help your body prevent the small bowel obstruction. That's the part we're not being told. I have not met one person who was even told that there's a risk of small bowel obstruction from their abdominal surgery. I'm shouting it from the mountaintops because I learned it the hard way. And I had a conversation with a board certified gastroenterologist who said it out of his mouth, he said, yes, it is true. You have a lifetime risk from any abdominal surgery you have. And they think, oh, my surgery the doctor said it looks good. We're not talking about external scars here. We're talking about the healing on the inside that does not show up on any scan.
Wow.
Let that sink in. So do you understand why we have to be preventive?
Yeah.
Right? And how do you help your body prevent it? Vitamin D deficiency, make sure you have therapeutic high values, because remember that reduces chronic inflammation, because what causes it to grow is the same thing that causes the fibroids to grow.
Yep.
Right? Hormonal imbalance, right? Chronic inflammation, stress, the same things. It's called abnormal tissue proliferation is what it's called. That it causes that abnormal growth, right? But have you ever heard that before? Never. Never. So, but what ends up happening is my cousin had to have emergency surgery because all of a sudden she couldn't keep anything down. She had to be rushed to the hospital.
And I've never even heard about K2. The only time I've heard about K2 was it was synthetic weed.
Yes.
That they talked about.
Yes. I heard that. Yes.
That's the only time I've heard of K2.
Yes, not vitamin K2. Is that not crazy?
I know. Heard about synthetic
so
weed.
going back, so you asked me, the reason I'm backing up into that because you asked me about what I eat. So I'm saying this because I have a matrix of things I have to consider in my diet. So I'm not saying that this is something I'm recommending for everybody. Okay. So, and when I found out I had fibroids, I found out I had kidney disease. It's genetic in my family. Right? And my doctors are like, wow, you're still here. I was like, well, that's detox living because there's no cure. And most people are on dialysis, by now, right? So I navigate kidney disease. I'm gonna run it down from all the complications. I navigate the small bowel. It's called short bowel syndrome, right? Osteoporosis because of the fact that my last fibroid surgery was a hysterectomy, right? Okay. Glaucoma.
Wow.
How glaucoma coming to the mix? Because kidneys?
Genetic, I think, because my grandmother has it too.
Okay.
All right. Of course, hormonal imbalance just because of the disruption from the hysterectomy. And then, so with all of that, I have a pescatarian diet because of the healthy fats, right? I deal with gluten-free. Gluten is one of those inflammatories, right? As well as I don't do any dairy. So those are my and soy, I don't do any soy. So those are the 4 key things for me. Those are like the guidance.
What does soy do?
It's hormonal imbalance. It really disrupts your hormones. And it's not all soy. Because soy overseas is very different than the soy here.
I say in the Asian countries, that's all
very
they do is soy.
Different.
Yeah.
That's different. That's good.
Yeah.
We were just talking about
I was talking because doctors.
But you can't get that here, can you?
Nope.
Dr. Zuri from Cedars-Sinai, shout out to Dr. Zuri, who was over like colon cancer at Cedars-Sinai in Los Angeles. He told me to be very careful of soy.
Synthetic
here.
Yeah, it's synthetic here. And the thing is, when people go vegan, they're like, oh, I'm just going to have tofu.
Yeah.
Like you have to be careful, right?
Ain't the real stuff.
But let me share a guide for just finding out what's the best diet for you, right? So your body actually you have to start listening to your body because your body's speaking all the time, right? And our body actually has something called inflammatory responses, right? So it's through, our body will show inflammation through, what is called swelling, right? Through pain, right? Redness, right? Those are signs of inflammation. And what will happen is for me right away, if I start to get congested, I know that something in that, and sugar is another real big trigger for me. Sugar is a really big toxin. Right away, I'll start to, oh, okay, something in that I shouldn't eat, right? Or it will cause bubble guts, or it'll cause bloating. So a lot of times people will be like, push past it. Well, your body's telling you something, right? It's telling you, nah, we don't roll with that. Right?
Yeah.
So it's not that there's a hard, fast diet that's best for everybody, but if you eat for your genetics, which is, hey, I ate that. But the biggest thing is we have muffled our bodies for so long because we haven't listened that we don't really know because it's hard to hear.
Wow.
That's why we need to do a fast,
Yeah.
right? A fast will help you reset your body,
Yeah.
right? So that your body now cleans out and your detox functions are now reset and oiled and optimized. Then you're like, oh, I ate that. And all of a sudden, I didn't feel so good.
Didn't feel good. Yeah.
Right. So if we will just listen to our bodies,
Yeah.
right? If we'll listen, then we'll be like, oh, that's not good for me.
Yep.
That's not something that my body responds well to. And then from there, you can determine for you, what you'll eat as part of your like day to day.
Yeah.
Right. And then what will be something that maybe you'll treat yourself with.
Yeah.
Right. But something that's not going to be part of your day to day because it's harmful for you.
Right.
Like it's a culture of developing this listening to our bodies because that's one of the biggest signals that God has given us. Like pain. Pain is not something we should ignore.
That's
Yeah.
good.
It's not. Like the fact that something is hurting is your body saying, hey,
Yeah.
I had the worst headache of my life in 2020. It was post-COVID and woke up. I had a headache, like a mild headache for a while. And it was a lot of stress. It was a lot going on, right? We had like what we call the trifecta of a pandemic. It was a crisis racially, the racial eruption. It was, the stress of a pandemic where kids are home and everything was right. And then there was the economic factors going on. And I'll never forget, it was now the third day, and it was like the worst headache of my life. I woke up that morning and I said, God, what is this? And I heard the word aneurysm. I heard the word aneurysm. And because of the kidney condition, I was more at risk for an aneurysm. Now I had Erica Get Up Mornings to do that morning. So I did that interview, emailed my doctor.
What?
And my doctor said, go to the ER right away and get an MRA, right? Not MRI, but MRA, it actually shows what's happening in the blood vessels. Did the test. Thank God, because my family was like, no, if you're in pain, you got to go because your pain level is so high.
Yeah.
Remember, I've had all these surgeries. My threshold for pain is so high at this point. They were like, if you're saying you better go to the doctor.
Yep.
I went, my blood pressure was sky high, right? I see them whispering, I already know something's wrong. And they tell me, you indeed have a significant brain aneurysm. My blood pressure skyrocketed to 199. It was crazy. And
what made that jump like that? Just nothing. You just
no, the pain. The pain level was
no.
so
I'm
high.
talking about you just woke up one morning, or you was doing like what were you doing
that developed that it. So in my case, I had the kidney disease, right? But then I had the stress of the pandemic. My blood pressure had become irregulated, right?
Because of the pandemic.
Yes. And guess what? I didn't have high blood pressure before this. Okay. My blood pressure was 110/70. It was normal. And with kidney disease, blood pressure is one of the highest issues, right? Mm-hmm. And at that point, they were refrigerating bodies in New York City. So wasn't nobody running to go to the doctor because you got a headache. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because it was more dangerous going to the doctor. Yep. So it wasn't until things were, like at the point where I was like, I have to go. Like at this point, it was really bad. And it turns out now, the headache, I found out at the same time when they did the scan that showed the aneurysm, that I actually had a growth on my parathyroid, which is not your thyroid, it's behind your thyroid. It's called the parathyroid. And what was causing the headache was actually the parathyroid issue. But the headache is what saved my life. Because typically speaking, you wouldn't go. So I was saying, God, you saved you know how many people die with an aneurysm that ruptures?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Because there are no symptoms until
it's too late.
It's too late. Exactly. Yeah. So it became a thing where they was like, listen to your body. Thank God.
Yeah.
I listened to my body.
Let me ask you this. why do you feel like your body has been under attack so much? What do you feel like the calling is over your life? Because I hear a lot of stuff about people. I go to the spiritual.
Yeah.
And for you to be under attack this many times, what has God spoken or what has been prophetically spoken over your life as a young girl, or what? What do you think that is? What has been spoken over your life?
You know, it's so, I love that you asked that question. So I remember when I first, after my story came out, in essence, and I started to working with women, you know, and helping them heal, targeting these issues. I remember one day, because we had a coaching session, it was a group coaching session with women going through, and all these testimonies were coming forth. And after I hung up, I got off that Zoom, I was sobbing. I was like, God, where was this when I needed it?
Mm.
You know what he said to me? He said, it was the horror of your story that connected these women to you so they could heal.
Absolutely.
So he let me know, you know, that it's my calling to help other people heal.
Absolutely.
And there's something in that. I was like, well, Lord, can I not teach them nothing else? I was like,
take me off your strong soldier list.
I was headed into the parathyroid surgery. I said, Father, let this be the last
Let
one.
it be the last.
Like, Lord,
Yes.
I promise I teach them stuff I don't even know. I don't even need to know it, God.
I ain't got to go through it to teach.
You know, when he gives somebody, if I know something, then save you, there's nothing that's going to keep me from sharing it.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's the calling, right? That it's like, if I can help someone with information, like, he knows it.
Yeah.
And that's what he's endowed me with,
Yeah.
right?
Amen.
And he said it was because of your hell that people believed you.
That's facts. That's
Like,
facts.
I'm not talking from something that
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't know. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, and the truth is that that people need authenticity to connect with.
Absolutely.
Right? They need to know that this is not someone, I'm not trying to sell you something.
Not a
Like,
gimmick. It's-
baby,
Yeah. Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
I created what I wish was there for me.
Absolutely.
I wrote the book I wish I had.
That's facts.
Because I'm trying, you know, the beauty of the Selena story
What?
was that Selena came to me at the same point I was at in the beginning of my journey.
Oh.
She was dealing with fibroids that were causing infertility, and she didn't have any other symptoms. That's where I was when I started. And because I didn't have a me in my life,
Yeah.
I ended up, the surgery is what precipitated all the damage.
Everything else.
It wasn't the fibroids. It was the surgery, right? And because of that change, she didn't have to go down that road.
Yes.
That is so good.
That's God.
That's all
So
God.
how can people connect with you, Coach Gessie?
They can follow me on Instagram as Coach Gessie.
G.
Coach Gessie with a G, yes. And please, you know, take our quiz, our symptom quiz at thedetoxnow.com.
Yes.
I promise you. The other thing is we have plenty of support. We offer free group coaching. I offer coaching because we want people to actually have the support on their journey and to know that they're not alone. There's so many people suffering, and because they don't feel like they have answers or know how to get to an answer. I may not have all the answers, but guess what? I have physician partners to connect you with. You know, I have information. I will help connect you with somebody else, because there's information that when we know that we have people who care,
Yep.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That you're not alone. Too many of us are suffering.
Yeah.
Too many.
Yeah. And that for me is a crime.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what? I want to take a moment to say this, because fibroids actually helped me know that this is my husband.
Please do
And
tell.
so a quick, really personal,
Yes.
intimate story. but I had surgery probably about 3 months ago to remove a fibroid that was in my, and keep me honest here because I don't know the terminology, but that was in my uterus, even though I have multiple. When we were dating,
The largest one.
the largest one, the one that they said is in the way of having a child. When we were dating, my fibroids were causing my cycles to be very, very heavy and painful. I came to Dallas and I was so embarrassed because I was going through the products, you know, the tampons, I was going through them fast. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm here. You know, we're new. Like, how is this whole thing gonna go? How's it gonna work out? I'm super self-conscious about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I go get in the shower. And before I can make it to the shower,
more
I'm
flooding.
having an accident all over the bathroom floor. And I just called his name because I didn't know what to do. And he said, "Don't worry, I'm gonna clean it up."
Wow.
And
My God.
I just know that we don't share a lot of these stories because they feel shameful.
Yes.
But I just wanted to tell the story because it was important for me to talk to you today, to heal. And I wanted to share that story so that he can know how much I appreciate him. Because so many people would have been like, girl, get out of here. This is, I'm not, you get, you know, and I was just in so much pain. And it was just bad. And he was like, girl, that's just,
Girl.
I felt like he was overreacting.
That normalizing.
Yeah, I told her, I said, girl, I'm gonna be taking care of you when you get old and gray. This ain't nothing. I just got on my hands and knees and scrubbed the floor. It's just it's not that serious to me. It's literally saying, you are my wife and I will take care of you. And that's just period. I didn't want her to feel embarrassed by it. I didn't see nothing to be embarrassed. And then it really shocked me when I had a conversation with your dad and you had told your dad, and your dad was like, he called me, he was like, yeah, man, Ashley told me what you did. I said, what did I do? You know what I'm saying? I thought it was something bad. He said, he told me what you did. I said, what did I do? He said, you sat there and cleaned that stuff up. I said, oh, yeah. He said, you're a real man. I said, oh, wow.
That's real.
I was just like, I mean, it got me teary-eyed, but it just bothered me that she was so embarrassed by it. And so what I been trying to do is just study this stuff. I study this stuff. And so when she had her fibroid surgery, I was there. I flew out there to make sure I could be there.
You got to read my book.
Yeah. What's that about? What it talks about?
The End Fibroids Manual and Guide. It literally, the reason I'm saying that is because all of the research that's out there, I'm so glad that you are willing to read it. That
got to.
Bruh, like that is so important because you play a major role. That support, my God.
Yeah, I want to know. I want to be able to be educated about the very thing that concerns my wife. And so I want to know. I want to be able to help aid. That's the reason why even when Candace first told me about you, I was like, oh my God, this would be great, you know? And then today, Ashley was like, I was like, so she's in town. She's going to be leaving in a couple of by Wednesday. And I know that we got to catch a flight tomorrow. How do you feel about that? Let's have her on. I said, are you sure? We just did a whole photo shoot today. We've been up early this morning. She was like, let's do it. This would be a great episode. I said, well, all right then. Because I was excited about it, but I know that she tired. She be working, and we have to catch the flight in the morning. Just flew in from Phoenix yesterday, doing a podcast in Phoenix and all that. And she was just like, I would love to talk about that. She said, definitely, I want to talk to her about that because I need to hear this conversation, but also I want the last week of March where we can just take a break and we can be we can just, what you say? You want to
Sabbatical.
take a sabbatical.
Sabbatical.
She got spiritual with it. We're going to go on a sabbatical.
Yeah.
Like the pastors be going on.
Yes.
She wanna
Going
go
on a sabbatical for
So
my
it's-
birthday.
You know,
So her birthday March the 31st and mine's March the 29th.
oh, y'all are
And
really, y'all are birthday buddies.
Yeah, we birthday
Irish
buddies.
twins.
Yes. And so that's what we're going to take a week off. So we're going to, we're batch recording as many episodes as possible so we can take a break and just go chill.
You know, first of all, can I say something about what I appreciate what you shared, Ashley, because do you know how many women you just made feel seen? You know how many women, this is unfortunately how many women deal with this every day. I was talking to my husband, literally the day before I came, I said, babe, I never told you how much, I don't know if I said, I don't remember if I told you, but remember that time I bled all over the BMW seat and it was nothing, it was coming home from church, just hemorrhage, just flooded. This is the reality of so many women.
Yeah.
And here's the deal. We're not told that before it even became that heavy, that was a warning sign. We're not told that we're only supposed to bleed 3 to 5 tablespoons.
Tablespoons?
3 to 5 tablespoons. That is what the National Institute of Health says is a normal period.
Wow.
But how many doctors say you just bleed heavy? How many doctors just say, oh, you just have a heavy blood flow?
Yep.
So what happens is you normalize that heavy blood flow.
And
When
get
the body's saying, SOS,
Yep.
SOS, this is not, back it up, this is wrong.
Yeah.
That's what the body's saying. But because we've normalized heavy bleeding, our body is literally suffering and going down a road where we didn't even realize, oh, wait a minute, I needed to interrupt this a long time ago. Just when it looked like it was, because it was normal. Changing clothes is normal. Going through, changing.
And buying
multiple
pads that
super
can
pads,
carry more.
wearing diapers. You know how many sisters?
Yeah.
And that's not normal. So if you are bleeding and changing your pad every 2 hours, every 3 hours, that is not normal.
Scared to go to sleep?
That is not
because you're scared you're going to wake up?
And that is your body telling you whether or not you have fibroids. It is your body telling you that the root issues of vitamin D deficiency, chronic inflammation, hormonal imbalance, and stress are driving the bus.
I love it.
And that is the point at which we need to intervene. Not watch and wait, not after we've suffered so much, right? Like that is the point. That's the point. And when we reframe that and we destigmatize saying, hey, something's wrong. And when the doctor tells you it's normal, that means that doctor's telling you, I'm not the right doctor for you.
Yep.
I have to say, my good friend created a platform called Clinicians Who Care, which is a free platform that is created and it's populated with doctors who care, listen, and believe you. They care for, listen to, and believe you, because that is a rarity.
Yeah, it is.
Right? And all we want you to do, if you're a person who has a good doctor relationship, populate it. Put that doctor's name in there, because that'll save somebody else's life.
That's good.
Because someone who says, no, that's not normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not normal that you're changing your pad every 2 hours.
Yeah.
Stop it now. Do you understand what the revolution?
Yeah.
That if I'm now make vitamin D a part of my regular routine, that I now can stop, I can help my body before I even, what? That's why I said, this is information that we're not being armed with, because at the doctor level where you're supposed to trust what my doctor tells me is what I need to do for my health.
Yeah.
The doctor's telling you, you're just bleeding heavy, or it's just normal, or that's just, there's watch it until it becomes a real problem.
Yep.
Well, I want to, whatever you're going to give me, I want to commit to taking it, and I want to commit to updating the Lit fam.
Let's do it.
Because I know people are going to have questions.
Yes.
And I'm a prime candidate for it.
Yes. Yes.
So
and
you're a whole influencer, huh?
And we want to see that miracle, baby. Haley.
You heard it here first.
Yes.
So let's see how it goes.
Absolutely. We got you.
I want you to grab that box now. This is the time for you to write your key to love. So grab the box. There's going to be a paper with a key on it, and it's a gold pen. You can take it and put it in your lap. Just grab the whole box.
I didn't know the rules.
Yeah. And you can.
I have found the one whom my soul loves.
I'm about to ask you to read all what's in the box.
Yeah.
One job. Just read the thing. Grab the marker, and then grab the marker, and then write your key to love, and then slide back towards this microphone so that you can read it. You can write whatever you want to write. This is your key to love, and you can close the box and write on top of the box.
Thank you. I appreciate the instructions because I didn't know if it needed to be, covered. So I'm going to write before I'm going to speak, right?
Yep. You're going to write what it is. You're going to sign your name.
Okay.
So.
Look at that. She's going to try to ask me first. Go ahead, Ashley.
So, husbandy, what did you think about this episode?
I think that this is not just a conversation geared towards women. It's a conversation geared towards everybody.
Yes.
I think men need to do their due diligence and learn the inner workings of a woman's body. Most men are just fixated on a woman's vagina, but you need to know everything connected to it, her whole reproductive system, and the things that she may be struggling with in private. And we need to normalize those conversations in our community. Also gives us more language and understanding on, even when we're raising young girls, not to normalize just putting them on birth control.
Yeah.
And the first thing they say is when a young girl is having heavy cycles, they say, well, put you on birth control, it'll solve it. And so they make birth control the solution when it's just masking the real symptoms and the real issues. And so
sometimes creating more problems.
More problems down the line. Absolutely. And so when I think about all this and I think about our daughter Laterras, she just gave birth to our angel baby. 6 months old, Claire.
Beautiful.
And at this time of this airing, it'd be 7 months.
Oh, wow.
But she had a big dermoid cyst in her body that was 5 pounds, 6 pounds, or something crazy.
God.
It was huge. And I didn't know anything about a dermoid cyst. A dermoid cyst can grow teeth and hair.
Yep. I was about to say, did it have teeth and hair?
Yes, it had
Scary
all
looking.
that scary thing. And I was like, this was inside your body. And she kept trying to lose weight, and it's just sitting there. And she was like, what is going on? And then the doctors didn't diagnose. Oh, this would be cool. We just gonna get this little cyst. At first they thought it was like a little tumor or something, and then they go in to do surgery and find out this whole thing, end up getting pregnant. She'll come on and share her story, which she's very vocal about on social media. But praise God that a couple of years later she was able to give birth to my first granddaughter.
There's nothing
Claire.
like it.
Baby Claire.
Yeah. And what's so interesting about it was that, what was the weeks where she was at, where they said if she can just stay, if she gives birth right now, she's going to struggle with, she may have preeclampsia. She may have preeclampsia for Laterras. And they said if she gets past it was like a few days that she had to be in the hospital to pass that. Was that 30 weeks or what is that?
Thank God.
Yeah.
Preeclampsia, though, that can take people out.
Absolutely. And they were saying that. So she was scared. And so we went to the hospital. We were praying for her and praying for her. And she finally got past that danger zone. And then the next day she had Claire.
That's a miracle by itself.
Yeah. And it was like, first they thought she was going to be in the NICU for a long time. God said, no, I have the final say. Didn't even happen. Came home a couple of days later. Yeah. So it was just such a beautiful thing. So,
What a blessing.
And my thing to you, Ashley, there's nothing that you will go through that I'm going to have a front row seat and not just a front row seat, but I'm going to be like studying
Advocate.
everything.
You're gonna be an
I'm
advocate.
an advocate. But let me tell you, I'm like, hey, listen, what y'all doing? No, she don't need that. We need to do this, you know, because I know if I don't do it, your mom gonna do it. Because when she went through surgery, that was literally a month before we got married.
Yeah.
Wow.
And her mom was like, oh, yeah, this is a whole different thing. So we'll probably we'll stress them doctors out.
But you know, I love that, you know, you said the advocacy piece, because that's a whole other thing that's I'm really passionate about, is the fact that medical bias is real.
Yes, it is.
And we always, because of that, need to have an advocate.
Absolutely.
Period.
Yeah.
So whether it's your husband, somebody who's in the medical world, somebody who will not take, you know, who won't stop asking the hard questions.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, my mother handled medical malpractice claims her, you know, throughout her whole career.
Yeah.
And so I just want to reinforce what you said, is that when you don't ask questions,
that's right,
then you don't always get help. And sometimes you don't know what to ask, but you need to do research and you need to keep fighting for yourself, because sometimes I think that we as a people, we just believe that because you have a coat on or the word doctor in front of your name, that you know best.
Yep.
That's the time to ask questions at the doctor.
Yeah. Actually, if I can share something around that's really important. So, you know, I didn't share the part that I dealt with a lot of medical bias and racism, right? Where, you know, when I was diagnosed with that aneurysm, the doctor told me, oh, I can fit you in my calendar 8 days from now. What? And they tried to send me home, right? And it's a whole bunch of other things. But I learned on the journey that there are some specific questions. Number one is, if you go to the doctor and they're saying to you that, I'll give you an example, you know, that you're dealing with a pain and they just treat it topically, right? It's important to ask them, what is your differentials diagnosis? And what evidence do you have that it's not these things, right? So to tell you what that means. Differentials diagnosis is, what else can it be? Because if you don't ask the doctor that, they're not required to do that. They should, but they're not required to.
Differential diagnosis.
So what is your differentials diagnosis? So for instance, okay, this pain on my side, I'm going to give you a very, very real example, my own example, right? I went to the doctor. I was having a pain right here, flank on my side. Now remember, the kidney disease that's here, I knew it could be a ruptured cyst, all right? Because the kidney disease I have is called polycystic kidney disease. So there are hundreds, like multiple hundred cysts all over my kidneys, okay? And the kidneys get large, very large, right? Like my waist was much smaller, but it's bigger because of the kidneys, okay? There's nothing I can do. I can't lose weight or nothing like that. But praise God, I got healthy kidneys because I'm here.
Amen.
And I thank you, God, that my kidneys are still functioning, period. Okay.
Amen.
So I went to the doctor because the pain was so bad. I went to the ER. They said, well, I said, so what else could it be? They tested it to make sure it wasn't a small bowel obstruction. Because of my history, it could be an obstruction that developed, right? So they did a CT scan, an abdominal CT scan. They did blood work to confirm it wasn't a blood clot, because it could be a blood clot, right? In my lung, because of where it was in this area, right? They made sure it wasn't, so they ruled out the worst things it could be. Then there was like, because it's not these things, we have to assume that it is a ruptured cyst. You will know in a week to 2 weeks, if the pain goes away, you'll know that it was a ruptured cyst, all right? Now, if I didn't know the things that I know, they could have just given me a painkiller and sent me home, okay? But if you don't ask what the differentials diagnosis is, they could be like, well, they're going to give you the lowest hanging fruit of what it is versus, but you didn't test me to make sure it wasn't the monster in the room.
Right.
Right? You have to rule out. So the second question, which is, what evidence do you have that it is not cancer? Because you said differential it could be cancer. What differential diagnosis? It could be a ruptured cyst. Differential diagnosis, it could be a small bowel obstruction. So how are you going to get evidence that it's not those things? You're going to do the test. Now you're required to do the tests to rule out those things, right?
Yeah.
So that is your right. as a patient.
And I will say, my grandfather, he told the doctor, he said, "Doc, I got cancer. I'm losing weight. Like I can't keep, like I have cancer." The doctor said, "You don't have cancer."
See that?
You know, my grandpa got so weak, he fell down, he couldn't get up.
My God.
Went to the doctor, was diagnosed with stage 4
at that point.
terminal cancer.
Jesus.
And lived about a month longer. So when I say you are telling the truth, we know our bodies.
Yes.
We need to listen to our bodies, and we have to advocate for ourselves.
Absolutely. I say, when you go into the doctor's office, there are 2 experts in the room. There's the doctor, who's the expert in their field, but there's you, who's the expert on you.
Your body.
Yeah.
And never listen to a doctor that devalues your expertise.
Yeah.
Because you're the very first source of information they have.
Yeah.
You are the person they need to listen to the most. So if they devalue your voice, that means they can't be your doctor. You will say, "Excuse me, I feel like I'm being discriminated against. I'm being devalued. I want to see another doctor."
Facts. That's
Facts.
good. Yes.
It'll save your life.
Good. Now read what you got on that.
All right. My key to love is relentless passion for loving yourself as Christ loves you and growing into the character of Christ.
What does that mean?
So remember Jesus said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and strength, right? And love your neighbor as yourself. I can only love you as healthily as I love myself.
Yep.
And I can only become as healthy as I passionately pursue growth.
That's good. Well, go ahead and hang that up.
Can I hang it up?
Yeah, go hang it up. Yeah, you put the marker back in there and hang that up. Darren, you'll move to camera 4. Yep. Oh, boy. This was good, huh, Ashley?
This was really good.
Was very unexpected, but
Yeah.
very, very necessary.
Very necessary.
Very, very necessary. Yeah, he just does what he does best.
Yes.
May the love you shared today outlive the season you're in.
May it carry you through the days when words are few and faith has to do the talking.
Y'all give it up for my homie, Coach Gessie R.
I love y'all.
We love you back.
Ladarian, thrusted suddenly into Child Protective Services in 2015. My nephew, Black, a boy. The likelihood of being adopted outside of kinship, slim to none. Armani, 16 years old, Black, a boy, with 5 years in the foster care system before I even knew his name. The likelihood of ever being adopted, yep, you guessed it, slim to none. While Ladarian and Armani were trying to survive and barely thrive in an overpopulated and underfunded foster care system, I was living my own life, doing well professionally. Having been a single father with a daughter who at that point was doing well in college, it was my time to live my life, right? Wrong. I felt unsettled, tireless, agitated. There are just too many of our Black children stuck in ambiguity and in the limbo of the foster care system. In 2017, I legally adopted my nephew, Ladarian. Fast forward to 2019, I had no ties to this other young king, but I felt God instructed me to adopt him also, and I obeyed. Starting over with parenting should have been enough, right? Working with various foster care and adoption agencies to help bring awareness to the countless young Black kings in the foster care system should have decreased my agitation, right? Joining the board of directors of Advantage Adoption, an organization that helps find permanent adoptive homes for children in foster care, should have led to some type of resolve, right? No, not at all. None of it felt like I had done enough. I now realize that every one of those experiences was laying the fundamental foundation for my life's mission, Kingdom Royale. Kingdom Royale will be a luxury, state-of-the-art home for foster boys. Our first location will be in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. We will utilize the whole person approach that instills identity, empowers them to advocate for themselves, and enlightens them regarding new perspectives and limitless options that they thought were impossible. Though the young kings will attend the local public schools that are in proximity to Kingdom Royale, Our at-home curriculum will broaden their worldview through participating in the arts, attending various cultural events, learning about and engaging in multifaceted discussions about current events and even relevant historical context, introducing them to gardening and landscaping and even caring for our animals on our farm and on-site stables. We just launched our Startup Capital campaign with the goal of raising $2.8 million. Now, why $2.8 million? Well, in 2017, I created a web series in which I performed random acts of kindness for targeting the homeless community. One of the most notable successes was that one of the videos went viral, garnering 28 million views. However, one of my biggest regrets is that I didn't raise a single dollar to help in implementing a more sustainable plan for the homeless community. So throughout the years, with much remorse, I reflected on not maximizing that moment. I knew if at that time, just 10% of the viewers donated $1, we would have raised at least $2.8 million that could have really established long-term support for the homeless community, or at least started a long-term initiative to do so. This is my do-over. This is our new beginning. Together, we can attack this at the root by specifically helping our homeless Black boys who are already disproportionately represented in the American foster care system. I'm Laterras R. Whitfield. I've been nominated for 3 regional Emmys documenting my work with the homeless as well as my personal adoption journey. Despite those accolades, the greatest award for me is truly providing the infrastructure for a transformed life. Visit kingdomroyale.com for more details. Crown a king and make a donation today.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Dear Future Wifey podcast. Remember, be lit, live intentionally and transparently, and don't stop loving. Make sure to subscribe to our Dear Future Wifey YouTube channel. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. We welcome your support. Simply share our podcast with your friends and family.